Okay, so today I will be talking out of Daniel 6 and Daniel 10, and I would say that I definitely struggled coming up with this because I was like, okay, what is something that I am struggling with? What is something that I feel like I'm really connecting with? And I was kind of I had to sit and I had to wait, and I realized that in the waiting is where we find God. And I kind of titled this The Waiting Room because for some people waiting it's rough because if you're a parent and your kid's in the back seat and they're like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? It can be frustrating, but then for others it's also anxious, because you may have gone to the doctor and you're currently awaiting results and you're just anxious because you don't know what they will say. But we can find that in Daniel 6, when Daniel is praying to his Lord and all of the other advisors within where he's working, they don't like him. And he's just like, I know that I have to just have faith in my Lord and he will come through. And so the city of Judges at this time, the city of Judah, it was in turmoil at this time. And they had been going back and forth. And so the other advisors said that because Daniel is so faithful to King Darius, we need to find another way to get him out. And so they went and they were like, for this amount of time, if anyone is to worship anybody other than you, then they will be sent to the lion's den for the next 30 days. And they went back up to Daniel's room because right after that, he went and he started praying, and they found that he was praying, and they went and they told King Darius, and King Darius was distraught. And even he decided to fast. And he knew that the God whom Daniel served would come through for him. And so the king fasted that night. Daniel had been thrown in at this time, and he comes back to the den and he's like, Daniel, are you there? And Daniel's like, yes, for my Lord has shut the mouth of the lions, and the lions are not attacking me. And so he opens it and he's like, you see, this is the God whom he serves. And we can see another example of this in Daniel chapter 10. And in Daniel chapter 10, at verse 12, an angel of the Lord comes to Daniel and he said, do not be afraid, Daniel. Since the first day that you set your mind to gain understanding and to humble yourself before your God, your words were heard, and I have come in response to them. God had that overnight shipping. That's what he had. And oftentimes I think we believe that an unmet prayer is unheard, when in reality, God is finding a way for that to work in our lives. He's finding a way to put us in a situation where if I'm praying for patience and I want to work on that, he'll put me in a situation where I can test my patience, where I can build it, where I can structure it in such a way that when I come back into another situation like that, I can apply it and I can grow from that lesson. And so in Daniel chapter 10, Daniel had been fasting for 3 weeks. And I think that is really evident that in order for us to dive deep into the word, we have to be willing to push away the things of this world, because the world is constantly saying that Christianity is this, when in reality, we are Christ followers and we're just trying to lead others to Christ in such a way that makes them feel loved. And consistency is key, because if we're inviting people to church and we're like, you have to come, you have to come or else you're doomed for eternity, versus, hey, I would love it if you came and you sat next to me in this pew, we're gonna have a great time, there's an amazing message. There's such a big difference in how you approach somebody, how you let them know that they're cared for and they're loved for. And it's hard to understand that we have to be willing to wait in the discomfort. We have to be willing to understand that there is a situation in our life where it's going to feel like the rest of the world is against us, but we know that God is for us. So something that my mother always likes to say to me whenever I'm stressed is that God never gives us more than we can handle, and that's in 1 Corinthians. And it's essentially this point that wherever we feel as though we're overburdened with whatever it is that we're going through, whether that be school or whether that be work, or whether that's just our friendships and our relationships, we need to remember that we are in this situation so that way we can grow through it, so that way we can learn through it, and we can somehow apply that to every other aspect of our life. And just as Daniel did, we need to not be afraid. We need to understand what it means to wait. We need to realize that God's plan allows us to thrive.